That's why, for example, the holiday of Hanukkah, the only holiday in the entire Jewish year to fall on the 25th day of the month, we light 36 candles. In fact, the rabbis point out that there were 4 places that God actually hid the light. Number 1 is in the 36 hours of Shabbos, even though Shabbos normally has 24 hours, but the moment the sun rises on Friday morning is already an aspect of Shabbos in the day itself. So therefore we include the 12 hours in advance of Shabbos plus the 24 hours of Shabbos, 36 hours. The 36 righteous people of which the Talmud speaks about who hold up the world in every generation. The 36 tractates of the Babylonian Talmud is another place the light is supposedly hidden. And the final place is the 36 candles of Hanukkah. So these are 4 places the lights are hidden. And anytime the number 25 and 36 show up, it's usually an allusion to this original light of creation itself. That's why one of the most important moments in Jewish history, when Avraham is asked by God to bring Yitzchak up as a sacrifice for the Akedah, we find a very important allusion to the 25 and the light of creation. The Torah tells us that at a certain point in the journey that Avraham turned to Yishmael and Eliezer and told them to remain behind with the donkey. It doesn't explain why. It just says that he tells them, you stay here with the donkey while Yitzchak and I go up the mountain, bow down to God, and we come back. The Medrash fills in the gap. The Medrash says that God never told Avraham exactly where to go. He told him to walk in the land of Moriah, and when he would finally see a specific site, he would know where to bring Yitzchak up as an offering. After 3 days of traveling in Eretz Moriah, Avraham finally looked up, and the Medrash describes phenomenal miracle. He saw fire and angels going up and down over the mountain. He realized this is the place that God determined to sacrifice Yitzchak. But Avraham wasn't sure if everybody was meant to go up with him. So therefore he did a little test. He turned to Yitzchak and said, Yitzchak, my son, what do you see? What do you see? And Yitzchak says, I see miracles and fires and angels, and it's tremendous. So Avraham understood that Yitzchak was holy enough to continue the journey with them up to the top of the mountain. He turned to Yishmael and he said to Yishmael, my son, what do you see? And Yishmael said, nothing specifically, clear skies, a nice mountain, beautiful scenery over here. And Avraham understood that Yishmael was not holding the level to go along with him. Eliezer, my trusted servant, what do you see? Same thing Yishmael sees, and Avraham understood that only Yitzchak was to accompany him up the mountain. Avraham says to Yishmael and to Eliezer, you stay po ima chamor, while we go ko, we go over there. But the actual word ko is chof hey. The gematria, the numerical value of chof hey is 25. Meaning that anybody who could see the divine presence over that mountain is somebody who is holding on the level of the original light of creation. So as one would suspect, at such a critical moment in Jewish history, when Avraham passed the test, and Yitzchak too as well, one would expect to find an allusion to this hidden light of creation. Why? Because if we go back to the beginning, when it says that God made the light, it said that God looked at the light, he saw the light, he created the ki tov, and it was good. Anytime something is good, by definition, it means it's fulfillment of the purpose of creation. So anytime you're going to find a fulfillment of the mandate for creation, you're going to find an allusion back to this light. So Avraham, in effect, is saying, well, you stay here while we go to the light. Avraham himself became a projection of the original light of creation. So now we can appreciate why the Shema itself has 25 letters. Because if the Jewish people are meant to be a light unto nations, and the Shema represents the creed of the Jewish people, then by definition the Shema must somehow be connected back to this light. So now we can appreciate the role that Yoseph plays in the entire rectification process. What's the connection? The difference between 25 and 36 is the number 11. It's no coincidence that Yoseph is the 11th born son, the one son of all the 12 sons responsible for revealing the hand of God in all that's taking place in history. But something else also equals 11. The name Yud-K and Vav-K has 2 parts. The numerical value of Yud-K, the part of God that works overtly in history, is equal to 15. The part Vav-K is equal to 11. Vav-K is the part of God's name that symbolizes God's involvement in the affairs of man in a more covert way. When anybody acts in a way that reveals the hand of God in the affairs of man, like Yoseph did through all that took place, and finally through the revelation of the fulfillment of his dreams, that person plays the role of Vav-K in history. So now we have a tangible definition of what it means to be a light unto the nations. The number 25 symbolizes the raw light, what God himself puts into creation, unused by man. When we, as a people, act as a prism to receive that light and to refract it and to reflect it to the rest of the world, to reveal the hand of God in the affairs of man, we transform that light from 25 into 36. This is the reason why the Talmud says you cannot place a menorah higher than 20 amas. Why not? Because the eye can't see that high. What difference does it make? Because the point of the menorah, says the Talmud, is persumi nisa, is to reveal the miracle. Everybody has to be able to see it because that's the whole point of the Jewish people. That's what the number 36 symbolizes and represents. It represents the revelation of the hand of God in life, of God's willingness to work with man to bring creation to fulfillment. Our job as a nation to be an Or L'Goyim, a light unto the nations, is to be a Yoseph. A Yoseph cannot work alone, but a Yoseph is the concept of refracting, of revealing to the world the hand of God in the affairs of man. When we do that, we rise to the level of the completion of the purpose of the Jewish people. This is the reason why the Shema has 25 letters, to remind the Jewish people that it's our role to take the light of 25 and to refract it to the rest of the world, to remind us that when we do this, not only do we bring fulfillment to the Jewish people, but we bring fulfillment to the mandate of creation. And how do we do that? By acting as the Yosephs of history, by playing the role of the number 11 in the equation to transform the hidden light of 25 into the revealed light of 36. By making it clear through all of our actions that God is involved in all the affairs of man, by sanctifying the name of God in all that we do. When we do that, we transform the raw light, the hidden light of creation, into the light of 36, the light of revelation that brings the reality of God before the eyes of all mankind, which ultimately is the fulfillment of the purpose of creation.